Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the official Hermitcraft Modsauce server. We've got my wizard hat on again. It looks ridiculous. I've got wings, I've got a wizard hat, and I've been busy in between episodes. Yes, at the end of the last one we were working on our tree farm and I finished it. It's all done with now and we're going to go outside and have a look at it because it is amazing. Look at this thing right here. I've used tons and tons of glass. I took several trips to the desert to make all of that, and actually that was made really easy because of our smelter that we built in the last one. All of that glass got made really quickly, but it's done now. This thing looks awesome. I put in some creeper face glass to kind of break up the glass panels, and on the other side of that I put a glowstone cover, which actually really made a huge difference because it kind of illuminates this entire thing. Otherwise it would look all dark and gloomy. But if we go down here, you'll see that I've made a change, an interesting one right here. What is this right here? It's a load of fog, obviously. And that is from Optifine. I've installed Optifine in an attempt to get some better FPS, and it's made absolutely no difference whatsoever, but it has added in this annoying void fog, which I don't really like, so I might have to remove that or remove Optifine altogether. But that is the tree farm project done. Let's go inside and talk about what we're going to be doing this episode. First of all, I would like to ask all of you if you could leave some feedback on this video, letting me know what you like and don't like about these Modsauce videos, because for me playing Modsauce, I'm really enjoying it, but I don't know this game inside out and I don't really know what's boring and not boring or what's interesting or not, and so any feedback you want to give me, it'd be greatly appreciated. Whether it's positive or negative, I do not mind. I just kind of want to make these videos a little bit better for you because I am at a loss with what I'm doing right here. And I was just thinking about this because I'm about to do something which might actually be a little boring for most of you, but to me it feels like it's quite an interesting step. And you can see here that Optifine is screwing around with these barrels. They look really weird. But this is the next thing that we're going to do. We're going to upgrade all of these barrels, and it means we're going to do some mass crafting. So over here in this overflow chest, you can see that we've got tons and tons of ores and that we need to upgrade our storage for them. So I've been preparing to do this. I've created loads of these structural upgrades for the jabber barrels, and each of those that we put on means that we can have more and more stacks of all of the different ores. Yes, that's what it means. So I've crafted enough of these to do all of the chests right here. Or barrels even. Yep, they're barrels. And what we need to do next is craft these things that allow to add extra stacks in there. You can see that one will add 576 stacks, which is amazing. But the thing is, the recipe for these are going to be quite expensive and time consuming to make when we have to make loads and loads of them, and I think we need to make a ridiculous amount of these. So I started to look into doing some mass crafting, which is something I haven't really done before in this game, because we're going to need to make loads and loads of pistons and better barrels as well. Now I think we have the resources for them at this point thanks to all of the quarrying that I've been doing. If you look over the back there, we've got one over here. I've done a ridiculous amount and now we have a plentiful amount of resources. But crafting it all is going to be time consuming, so I've been looking into doing some automated crafting. This is going to become useful if we want to make bedrockium ingots, which looks like they might be very useful, so I thought this would be a good step towards doing that. So in Ender.io we have something called the crafter. It's an auto crafter, you can see here. It uses energy to do so. We have our energy sorted out, but first of all we have to craft this thing. So you can see it's pretty cheap with the exception of this zombie controller, which is made with a slice and splice. And you can see here, yep, we got a zombie head, and all it needs is solarium. And this stuff is soul sand and gold, so we can make all of that in our alloy smelter, no problem at all, which is great. And the slice and splice is somewhere down here. This thing also needs a skull, which we have plenty of, so we can make this thing as well. So with those two things we'll be able to do some automated crafting, and I just kind of wanted to document it a little bit because it's my first time stepping into doing automated crafting, and some of you might want to know about it, and for some of you it might be dead boring and something you've seen 100 times before, and I just don't know. So that's why I was talking about the feedback earlier. But anyway, please do leave a comment and let me know what you like about this series. I only want to improve it for you guys because I'm having great fun here and I want that to translate into the videos, of course. But anyway, I'm going to get to doing this automated crafting and I'll be back with you in a bit. So just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on what's going on here. Some of you may think this is overkill. I'm starting to think it's overkill, but it's pretty cool to actually put all of the resources into this thing. So at the moment I'm just kind of calculating how much we need, putting it into this chest. We still need a ridiculous amount more of cobblestone and wood, but this thing is doing the job. It's staying full on energy, which is interesting, and it's doing tons of crafting and putting them into the chest on this side. So if we have a look at how it's configured, you can see there's a pull on that side and a push on this one, so it will pull the items in and push them out on the other side. So that thing's doing its job. So this thing over here, the slice and splice, it needed some zombie heads to make the crafters, and these things are actually a bit of a pain to obtain because they're not the beheaded types, they are the regular Minecraft ones, as you can see right there. And Kratos actually helped me out and showed me how you can get these. You have to use one of these cleavers, which is from Tinkers, so it's a particular type of sword, and this one can actually behead mobs. So if you look there, there's a chance to behead of 20%, so that might help us with obtaining more of those skulls from other mobs in the game. So I'm probably going to make myself a good cleaver at some point. And some of you were also talking about, why didn't I make myself a sword when I made all of these tools in the previous episode? So that's another thing I'm going to do. I'm probably going to make a long sword from Tinkers and yeah, do it with the RF power. Same thing for the cleaver as well, using the amethyst. But yeah, using this, I went around, killed a whole bunch of zombies, and we got those to craft the crafters. Okay, all of our upgrades have been done. This was certainly overkill, I gotta say, but it was fun to do, and now we probably won't have to worry about this again for some time. That stuff is all still blinking. But what I've decided to do now is actually move on to the bedrockium stuff. Now, I think I said earlier in the video I wasn't going to do this, but then I realised just how simple it was. All we got to do is stack these crafters side by side. So each one of them is just compressing the cobblestone down. You see, this one is going to create compressed cobblestone, then it's going to do double compressed, and then triple compressed, all the way down to quadruple compressed. And so far we have one of those, and I think we need 4 of those and 4 triples to craft a bedrockium ingot alongside 9 diamonds. And now that I think about it, we need 6 of those for a barrel, so we do need a lot of diamonds. However, I'm running quarries around the clock, so we're going to have plenty of diamonds to spare. But what we're going to do right now is actually take this deep storage unit, replace it with a new one for cobblestone, and we're going to move it over here. And I love the way that you can do that, just move millions of blocks really easily, and then we're going to feed them into this first chest, because I've been doing this a couple of times and that looks like a lot of cobblestone at first, and then it goes into this thing. You can see, it's making loads of compressed cobblestone, and as you go along you can see that the speed goes down fairly quickly, and then it takes quite some time to make the ones further down the line. So you put in all of that and you don't even get an extra one at the end here. So another thing that I wanted to mention as well is when we got to this bit right here where you have the triple compressed, I was thinking, you know what, we need to split this up. We need to make an even amount of triple compressed and quadruple compressed. And the idea of splitting it up, finding the right pipes to do that, was a little confusing. And then I realised even if we split them up evenly, we actually need one side to be biased because it needs a lot more blocks to craft the next level. So what I've actually decided to do is do it like this. We make it all into quadruple because we can actually uncraft it ourselves, and then that way we can use this to get the other ones that we're going to craft in the crafting table. Hopefully all of that made sense, and now I'm going to put it into action. So over here we're going to have a transfer node, and I'm going to move that deep storage unit. This thing has been running for quite some time now, and if we have a look at how much cobblestone we have left, still over 1 million. So with all the cobblestone it's used so far, we have got enough to make our bedrockium ingots, as you can see. But what we have right here is about 1/100th of the most compressed level. This one over here, the octuple compressed cobblestone, which is made of 43 million cobblestone. We don't even have anywhere near that amount. But if we press U for uses, you can see that if you put this into a furnace, you can turn it into a block of bedrockium, which has 9 ingots inside of it. So there's a way to get this stuff without using diamonds. Now, I'd really like to make that drum for our XP, and it's obviously fun to craft this stuff, so we're going to make some right now. However, what I'd like to do is actually set up a passive machine that works in the background. We could set up some cobblestone generators. They could continuously make the stuff while it's just running in the background, and then occasionally we'd get ourselves one of these. And I've got a feeling though it'll be a long time before we actually get one of these. So we have our blocks of diamonds in the middle, and then we just need to put things around it. So we can take our triple compressed right there, and I can't actually remember the recipe. There we go. So the triple compressed went on the corners, and that's it, 6 bedrockium ingots. So now I'm going to look up the recipe for the drum, and oh no, I've done that wrong, haven't I? There we go. Need some more of those. Oh my god, look at this. I have slowness 4. I guess the stuff is so heavy that it's going to make me slow. And luckily, there's no like extra ingredients to this recipe that I forgot about. You know, something expensive. So it's just gold and iron that we're putting into this. And then the bedrockium ingots go around the outside, like so. And there we go. We've got our bedrockium drum. So we got our 13 drums of XP back. I transferred all of the stuff in there into this drum, and what's good to know is once you've emptied it, it returns to a normal drum, which is cool because then we can use it for other things. But I got a feeling to store more liquids in the future we're going to need more of these bedrockium drums, so it feels like a good idea to do this project now while it's fresh on the mind. So I'm probably going to go into Creative World and play around with a few things, but the idea here is to create a bunch of cobblestone generators and an auto crafting line like this one right here, and then we can make that on top all compressed cobblestone. So this thing is going to be a permanent project. It's going to have its own room, and we're going to put it in this corridor over here. This is where we have the rooms where we don't really need to visit too often. So this thing will just kind of run automatically in the background and generate that compressed cobblestone for us. And one thing I just realized that I want to do is replace these with some cobblestone, so it kind of shows you which room it is, and we need to do that on this side as well. But let's go in and have a look at what I've done so far. So this is going to be where our cobblestone generators are. Obviously the cobblestone is made in between the lava and the water. Now I was playing around with the glass on top of here, and I thought what I want is for this room to be a little bit moody because the light is going to come out from the lava, so we've actually put dark glass on top of that. Now when I put it over the water, it made the water very dark, so I've been playing around with two different ones like this, and I think the cobblestone looks a little bit silly as well. So what we might actually do is just have it like this in the middle. But what's cool about this glass is you get these little textures in the middle, but you don't get it until you've got two of them side by side, which is a small little detail I felt like talking about. What we'll probably do is just make it so we have one strip of dark glass above the lava, so the light of the lava doesn't affect the room. But then down below, what we're going to be using to mine all of this cobblestone that we're creating is actually these things right here, transfer nodes. And Slipgator showed me this a while ago. You can create these things called world interaction upgrades, and that'll act like a pick that will mine the block above it. And this actually works in a way where the cobblestone isn't going to disappear. So look at this, it's creating cobblestone, but it's staying right there, which is interesting, and it generates it at a pretty fast speed, as you can see. However, I was just doing some testing, and if you put four of them in like this, then it will go even faster. Do you know what? I'm not 100% sure it is that much faster. Let's just do a quick test. So we put one in there, go to the one next to it, fill that one up, and then that one's going to fill up how quickly? There you go, a stack, and yes, it's definitely faster because that one is behind. That's good to know. So I'm really glad that Slip showed me this, because otherwise I probably would have used an autonomous activator and then had to have some sort of hopper system to collect all of the cobblestone, and it could have been quite messy, and this is going to be a lot more compact. So each of these are going to have a whole bunch of world interaction upgrades. I need to craft a whole bunch more of those. They are a little bit difficult to craft because you've got the iron pickaxes, but you know, no expensive materials right there. So what I'm thinking at the moment is what we might need on the end is a I forget what it's called, the one that moves a stack of items at once. So we could have that many, which means it runs that much faster, and then it moves a stack at a time. But the thing is, all of these pipes are going to point to a sort of location that picks all of them up, and then depending on how fast these things are is how quick it can move it. So it might mean that we need to remove one and also have a speed upgrade to move it in faster as well. So that's just another little logistics thing that I'm going to be thinking about, but I'm going to start setting that up now, and then that'll take all of the cobblestone over to our machines, which are going to compress it. So I've just discovered something, and I don't know how I didn't realise this earlier, but the world interaction upgrade can be stacked, which is kind of crazy because that means these things could probably run ridiculously fast with a whole bunch of them right here. And now I'm reconsidering like the whole design, because we've got quite a few cobblestone generators here and we could probably run this off of one or two. But then I'm thinking, well, we could try and make this thing just as powerful as possible. You know, over time we just put more and more of these world interaction upgrades. But the thing is, we are now generating a ridiculous amount of cobblestone, so much so that this can't keep up. So my thoughts here were that if we had one of these ender chests nearby, then the cobblestone would, you know, make its way to here quicker than if we were to bring it all the way up to a chest at the top. But considering the speed that this is generating at and the fact that we will have more slots available, that probably wouldn't be a problem with speed upgrades anyway. But what I have done in the meantime is hook that ender chest up to our deep storage unit over here, which while I've been working on that has actually gone way under 1 million, and now this thing can barely keep up. So if we put a speed upgrade on this thing, it's probably still... yeah, look at that, it's just pumping it all right in and it can't keep up, which is crazy, which means these machines probably can't keep up as well. That's just going to stay full now, isn't it? And this thing is generating as fast as it can, but we're generating more of the cobblestone than we can actually craft it. So we're going to need more of these machines as well. This thing has just gotten, this project that is, has gotten a lot crazier than I expected. So I'll put more thought into it. I'm sure we'll be able to find a solution. So we can create cobblestone a heck of a lot faster than we can actually craft it with those Ender IO machines. And so that means we would have to build a whole bunch more of them. And that takes a lot of time and effort to do. So I was looking for an alternative to that. And you can do this with extra utilities. However, this doesn't seem to be working, and I can't figure out why. If you have a group of inventories like this with a crafting bench, then I guess they act as the different slots in the crafting bench. And this thing right here should be able to pull it out, but it doesn't do it at all. And now all of these chests have filled up with cobblestone, and this isn't working. So what we could have done here is create a line of these that compress it all the way down to the final thing. And I wonder if actually some has gone through yet. I checked these a moment ago and there's absolutely nothing in them, and I don't know why that wasn't working. This is the picture that was on Twitter of how to use it, you know, to put them like this. So I'm going to double check it, of course, just make sure that this isn't right. But if this isn't going to work, then we'll have to go back to using Ender IO. And apparently this way is quite slow as well. And with the amount of cobblestone we're generating, we want to do that really fast. So it does look like we're going to have to go back to Ender IO. But I thought I'd show this. If you had something really simple that you wanted automatically crafted, then this would be a possible way of doing that. But for what we want to do, we want to craft this stuff really fast so we can make, you know, I say lots of bedrockium, but we're probably going to make a very small amount even if we do have a fast machine. So we're probably not going to be going with this. However, I'll double check and see if I can get it to work. So I've got to say it, these mods are just endless. So much time goes by in between each little bit that I record. At the moment what I'm doing is I'm making a cleaver, and I'm looking up how beheading works, and it turns out you can actually increase the chances of beheading. So like before, by the way, we've done this with some tough tool rods made out of paper, so we can add more modifiers to it. And what I'd like to do is add a flux capacitor to do this, but considering how long it took me to do it last time, it was like half an hour to an hour of crafting, I think I'm going to leave that one for now. But I don't think we really need anything else on this thing. Its purpose is for beheading, so if we add 4 of these, then it should, there you go. Oh, that looks really nice. So that's going to increase the chance up to 30%. So can we go up to like level 2? Does that work? Yes. Beheading 2, 40% chance. Look at that. We could even add more modifiers later by adding them over here, you know, with apples and stuff. So look at that. We've now got a 60% chance to behead. We've got a modifier remaining. So if this is the only thing we want to use this sword for, we could add a couple more modifiers on there, maybe get it up to like 80 or 90 and have the flux capacitor as well. But for now what I'm going to do is just use this like normal and do the flux capacitor later, because next time that I do all of that crafting again, I think what I want to do is make a whole bunch of them so that next time something like this comes along we've got a load spare. So I'm going to go off and get me some zombies. I'll show you where I harvested them from last time, because we still don't have a proper place. There's just so many things to do in this mod pack. It really is just kind of exhausting trying to get your head round all of it, but I'll show you where we went and killed them. It's just over here actually in the dungeon. There was a zombie spawner in there and I decided to use that. So 2 months into the server, and look at this. It's the most makeshift farm you have ever seen. I literally just hang around and kill these guys one by one. I am just a complete newbie when it comes to the mods, really. I got a couple of skulls so far, which is really cool, and then I spotted my own skull around here just down on this side. This is actually where me and Biffa went exploring, and I died a couple of times over here. You can see my skull has been placed down on the ground. So I'm going to farm these for a little bit, but Saigar Ryan has actually just got back to me. I was talking to him about the whole crafting thing, and it turns out that I was doing something wrong, and there may be a way to make that thing work. Did that guy just escape? I thought there was one that spawned in here. Yeah, look, he's made his way out because this thing is just, yeah, been thrown together in a couple of minutes. Anyway, we're going to head back over there and have a look and see if we can get this thing to work, because if we can, then it would make much more sense to use that rather than the Ender IO system. So I'll meet you back over there. And we're back. I've got 24 zombie heads, that's alright, but we're probably not going to be using those straight away now, as I want to test this thing out and see how fast it can go. So the thing that I was missing was a world interaction upgrade needs to be in this thing right here. So if we put one of those in, it should start crafting. There you go, you can see it's putting compressed cobblestone out, and it's going into that chest right there at that speed, and that is a really good indicator for us to test with. So if we just dump the rest of them in there, is this thing going to go faster? No, it's not, unfortunately, unless it's spreading them around to other chests. It doesn't look like it is. Okay, so that is quite unfortunate. I thought for a second there we might have a solution where we could craft tons and tons of these and make it go really, really fast. But as you saw there, it just seems to go at the same pace. However, what we might as well do is chuck this in as well and see if it then goes faster. Oh, okay, we need a combination of both, so it could have made them faster. However, it needed the speed upgrade as well. Okay, that's good to know. That means that this is probably going to be the solution that we go with. Now, something that I thought of earlier, right after I crafted all of these iron chests, was that this is a lot of space to have items laying around in, and what you could do is perhaps put in some other items like this to block it up, but the thing is, then this crafting table right here might accidentally take those. So, oh, I didn't want to do that. What I think I'm going to do is find out what has the smallest inventory in the mods, like ideally just something with one slot, but the smallest thing I can think of from vanilla would be a dispenser or a dropper, and you could possibly say a hopper as well, but then it's going to take the items down below, which probably wouldn't mess it up too much. But it could be a bit of an issue, so I think what we should do is look for something with a small inventory, but it does look like this is the way to go. So I think we're going to end up going with hoppers. You can see over here we got some furnaces. Unfortunately the pipes just don't interact with them. You can see it's got a full stack and it's got nowhere for it to go to. So another idea, you guys tweeted at me when I was doing all of this. I was on Twitter, some of you know exactly what I'm referring to right now. But yeah, if we were to use a different type of furnace, then we could probably end up, although that looks pretty cheap, maybe we'll give that one a go, because some of these look pretty expensive and a lot more crafting. So we will give that netherrack one a try. Maybe the pipes will be able to interact with that, because it's from a mod. Also the dirt chest, one inventory. This would have been perfect, except it only accepts dirt, it doesn't accept cobblestone. Anyway, let's go grab some netherrack. So this netherrack furnace looks really cool, and I got a feeling that actually it's just for looks, because it's got the same inventory and the pipe doesn't communicate with it, which is a little bit of a shame. So I think we're going to end up going with hoppers. Now the hoppers are going to pull from the inventory above them, which is why I didn't want to do this. But then it made me think, well, what we could do is actually have this point into the ones at the top, then the pipes can go to the sides. And this is provided that the pipes work with hoppers, I hope they do, and then the hoppers can automatically pull the items down, which will act as a buffer, which is what we're trying to reduce, but since we're working with hoppers, I guess we'll make that work in our advantage. So we're probably going to go with hoppers. Next time you see me, we should have this thing finished with that, unless I find something else. Okay, so we didn't go with hoppers, we went with droppers in the end. I just had a feeling like the hoppers would slow it down somehow if we were to play around with it. So I went with this right here, and I feel like the buffer is going to be too much. So if you have an idea of what to use instead of this, then please do let me know in the comments. Ideally, what we'd want is just one inventory space that stores a stack of items, or even less if there's such a thing. And yeah, after building all of this right here, it then just occurred to me that this might have been better to build vertically, so it goes downwards, because then we could have a chunk loader here and this thing could be running around the clock. And I should also probably chunk align this thing as well, so if it's always running when the server is on, that means it's going to just generate more and more over time. So there are a few more factors here that I'm not considering, and I'll put it down to you guys. Oh, this one needs a all of that sorted out as well. I'll do that in a bit. Yeah, I'll put it down to you guys. Any suggestions you have for this project, then let me know, because I feel like I'm probably going to build all of this stuff and then there's going to be stuff that does it even better. But I do think this is the way to go. That world interaction thing is going to be awesome, and I'm going to spend some time crafting loads and loads of them. So we will come back to this project in the future with your feedback and finish it off. But that is going to be it for this one. As always, if you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like. It will always be appreciated. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.